right, welcome, Rising Runners. Today I have a guest, Annette Rolston, founder of Mariposa Miles, and she is now a part-time teacher and part-time run coach and is here and excited to share with you her experience as a run coach and as a member of the Runner Rising Academy. Annette, welcome,
Thank
and
you.
so excited you're here. If you want to just start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself, how your running background and how you became a coach and why.
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for having me, Nicole.
Of course.
Well, I feel like I'm very similar to you in that I didn't grow up as a runner at all. I actually didn't start running until my mid-20s. When I started dating my husband, he convinced me to sign up for the Gladiator Rock and Roll 5K. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that race, but there's like obstacles
Oh, yeah.
and like you run and crawl through mud. We didn't train for it, of course. We just like showed up and ran it. I hated every second of it. But even though we totally sucked, we kept going back and registering for different races. Sorry, for different races and different distances. And even though I didn't know about proper training then, I just really loved the way running made me feel. I've never been a competitive person, so I think the reason why running clicked for me was because I felt like I was just competing with myself. And even then, I wasn't even really competing. Like I did it when I signed up for races, I never chased a time. Back then, I didn't even wear a watch. When people would ask me, like, "Oh, how long did it take you?" I would say, like, "I have no idea. I don't know." Like, I would literally just run to prove myself that I could do something hard. And um, so that has kind of been my relationship with running. I would take breaks on and off, after races or just depending on seasons of life. But my longest breaks were obviously after I had my girls. I have Charlotte, who is 11, and Juliet, who's 7. Um, and after having Juliet in 2018, I really went through a difficult time. I had a really rough postpartum. I was struggling with depression. Um, I was also navigating a new position as a dual language teacher, and it was an incredible opportunity, but I have never been more stressed in my life. And then COVID hit, and we had to go to teaching remotely, and it piled up, and I just was not in a good place. So I asked my husband, or I confided in him, and I said, I think that I need to get back to running. Like I need to do something for myself again. And he surprised me with the Peloton tread.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I get emotional because it's so cheesy, but Peloton truly changed my life. He got me that tread. I just remember crying after the first class I took. And for any listeners that are Pelotoners, it was a 20-minute Latin run with Selena Samuela, and it just reignited my love for running. And that's actually when I decided to get certified as a run coach. And it wasn't to start a business at all. I was like, no way, I'll never do that. It was more for personal growth because my 40s were also creeping up. And I knew that I wanted running to be a part of my long-term life, but I wanted to be able to do it safely and sustainably because obviously I wasn't training properly prior to that. So I decided to get my certification through ISSA, the International Sports Sciences Association, and that's what set the foundation for where I am today.
That's awesome. I love it. And then you did this as a just for fun, but then how did it come to bring in new clients?
Okay, so yeah, I did it just for fun. And then obviously, as I was learning, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like, where has this been my whole life? So the first real push came from one of my closest friends who also happens to be a life coach. So I did some work with her. And I told her that I had gotten certified just for personal growth, but that I was really pulled to helping other runners, especially beginners. Um, and she encouraged me. She encouraged me to start my Instagram account, and she believed in me so much that she actually asked me to train her for her first full marathon.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so my first client came really easily. And so once I agreed to that, I also reached out to some close friends and family, and I offered to train them so that I could gain experience at each race distance. And then while I was doing that, I asked them to share their journey on social media. So with that and just through word of mouth, it helped to bring in a few more runners. But to be honest, like I had no system, I didn't have any system. My system was more like, oh, let me post and hope and pray that somebody finds me. But I really didn't know how to like turn like interests into actual athletes, actual clients.
Yeah. And then did you have any other hesitations about social media or showing up there?
Um, So I have always had an Instagram, so I was comfortable with Instagram socially. I have a personal account that I've had forever. I love posting about my children, vacations, and all of that. But using it for my business was intimidating. I had no idea what to post. I worried a lot about what people think. I kept comparing myself to like running influencers. A lot of the coaches that I admire already have like such an incredible, like just Instagram following and brand. And so I was comparing myself a lot to them. And I mean, I didn't even know how to use Canva. So I really felt so lost and I didn't know how to present myself as a professional coach, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you joined Runner Rising Academy, and that was, yeah.
Yeah.
So why did you join? And you mentioned it sounds like you haven't invested in business coaching, but you had invested, you not invested, but you'd done some coaching with your friend who was a life coach,
Yes.
and you understood the value. But so why, tell us more about why you joined Runner Rising Academy.
Okay, so it was actually really neat. I don't know if I ever shared with you how I found your account or how I found you, but my own running coach, Montana, tagged you in one of her stories and mentioned that she was working with you on, with her business. And so I clicked on your profile just out of curiosity. And then I happened to see that you were hosting a free 3-day social media workshop. And it was like I found you right in the nick of time because it was literally, I think like the workshop was like the next day or it was something crazy like that. It was so perfect. So I joined that. I went through your free 3-day social media workshop and literally the value that you gave in those 3 days for free was unbelievable. And it really made me realize how much I didn't know and how much support I was missing. And so, yeah, I had never invested in business coaching. It's hard to know who to trust, and I felt really guilty spending the money. But after that workshop, it was really clear that you were real, like you're a real person. And I talked to my husband, and he has been so encouraging from day one. Like, I'm so grateful. Because he saw how much this meant to me and he understood also like the value that this would bring to me in my business. And so, yeah, joining your academy ended up being like one of the best decisions that I've made for my business. So I'm so happy I found you.
Yeah, I'm so happy too. And I'm so my next question is how did it help you feel more confident with social media? But I do have to just give you a compliment was I thought I feel like you were so good at implementing everything that I gave you. I feel like you do have a bit of a knack for social media in the sense that you're a good storyteller. Like even in the beginning of the intro here, you told a great story. And I think that you use you definitely leverage some of your strengths in throughout the course. But you immediately implemented it. I was like very impressed.
Well, you are a phenomenal coach,
Oh,
and I truly love learning. And I just, yeah, I was ready to take it all in. I wanted to set myself up to succeed. So, um, I think I told you maybe in one of my like testimonials or maybe in person, but I wish I had found you like the moment that I got certified. you just taught me, first of all, like how to identify that ideal athlete, because I was kind of, when I was starting, I didn't know. I wanted to help everybody, just like everybody. So you taught me how to identify that, and how to create content that speaks directly to that person too, and that changed everything for me. And I think that allowed me to like just have that freedom to tell my story too, um, in those posts that you were mentioning. And so when I started the academy, I had 227 followers. I looked it up last night. I looked at the data sheet that you had us fill out,
Yeah.
which I loved because it's so nice to see, the progress and the data. And I've grown to 430. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, it is. And something that I remember you always saying in the academy is that it doesn't matter whether you have 430 or 40,000 followers. Like if you aren't attracting your ideal athlete, then the number is truly meaningless. And I can honestly say that the majority of my 430 followers are my ideal athlete.
Yeah.
Um, I have really enjoyed building relationships with them. Like I know that even though maybe they haven't signed up to coach with me, I'm at least building relationships. And for me personally, like my current coach, I think I followed her for like 2 years before I decided to reach out. And so I know it takes time. But in the meantime, like I love my little community that I've created on Instagram, and it's because of you. I know how to speak to the people that I want in that community. Um, Something else too that was awesome is that when I started with you, I didn't have a newsletter. I didn't even know like what platform to go through, so I literally had to start from scratch. But with your support, like it went from zero to I have 79 subscribers now, so
Nice.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I've had more potential athletes fill out my interest form too. And I love that you taught me how to actually have meaningful conversations with them when they do fill out that form, because that also terrified me.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
was able to, and even though maybe not all of them decided to go with coaching, it was just great practice and great. And it's a good information that they provided that helps me with posts for Instagram too.
Yeah. So to clarify, your niche is newer, like runners who are tackling a first time distance or new to that distance. So have you had clients that are this type of person that are like, tell us about some of them.
Yes. Okay, so I will say too that at first, I don't know if you remember, I really struggled with the niche. One of the big things that I worried about was that I would offend people if I said that I coach beginners, because I didn't know if they felt like that was like offensive. Like, what do you mean I'm a beginner? I've been running since like I was 20. So that was my concern, but honestly, I think the opposite happened. I did absolutely end up attracting runners who were brand new to running, but I also attracted those that had some experience but had never worked with the coach, or are like true beginners for like a first distance. Because I know most people have done a first race, so I did worry about that. Um, but so I guess I was worried that I was going to close doors
Yeah.
by saying that, but it ended up making it, giving me just so much more clarity. And I've had like, for example, I have an athlete, Alana. I did train her for her first half marathon,
Oh,
and
nice.
then she came back, and now I'm training her for her second half marathon,
Yes.
and it's fun. So it's just, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It has made such a difference.
Yes, it doesn't matter if even though you're speaking directly to like the first time, they'll stay with you once they like you as a coach. They're not going to be like, oh no, now that it's not my first time, I'm going to go somewhere else, right? So
Right.
yeah, that's awesome. And that's great. Like, I mean, how did it feel to help someone? That was your goal, was to help someone with their first time of doing something. And like, what was that like when she messaged you or after the race?
It was incredible. And then I felt like, oh my gosh, yes, we get to have some fun now because she had that solid foundation. And so we were able to like then play with quality sessions and things like that. But it just felt so good to be needed, I guess, and to be able to play a part in that running journey. And one of the reasons why I feel like I really like resonate with beginners is because I've been a beginner in my life in many ways, a teacher, brand new teacher teaching dual immersion, beginner at running a business. And when I was training for my first full marathon, I had a coach, not the one that I'm currently working with. It was a different coach. And there were so many things that I wish that she had done for me as a first time runner running that specific distance. And so I just really invest in my athletes. We text, I answer questions, I do, especially when you're trying to learn a running platform or maybe figuring little things out like your watch or when you hit that first long run, yeah, I don't, there's so, I learned a lot from that first coach in the sense that I learned like what not to do. I feel bad saying that, but you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
knew that I just wanted to make it special for these athletes.
Yeah. And so how do you communicate? So when you're talking about your offer on your website, how are you communicating those nuances so that the beginner runner that's tackling a new distance feels like this feels different than maybe a different coach?
That's a good question. I think that I rely a lot on like my personal experience. So I think back to my feelings when I ran my first, or was training for my first full marathon, or when I ran it, and then I just listen to what they have to say, like what they post or the input that they give me through the forums or the feedback after doing workouts.
Yeah. So, but do you communicate that on your like website or when you talk about coaching so that they can tell that this is different than another coach?
I think so. I
Yeah.
want to say I do.
Yeah. I just wanted to like point that out for the people listening because I think sometimes what can get lost with the niche is you think like, oh, we're talking about like this is what I'm talking about on social media, but when you can tie it back in like little ways
Yes.
to your offer and show people that they, like why your coaching is a little bit distinct, not just it really can make a difference.
Yes. Yeah. I think that if anyone were to go on my Instagram, it's pretty clear who I'm speaking to. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks to
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to you.
Yes, exactly. You want someone to come to your page and be like, this is for me or this isn't for me, right? Immediately.
Yes.
And it does work across, like actually, for my own personal story, I specifically call out that I work with women over 35, but I also talk about nutrition a lot. And one of my programs is nutrition based. I literally just got off a discovery call with a woman who's not 35, she's in her 20s. And she was like, I know I'm not your normal person, but I'm so drawn to you for these reasons, nutrition and this exact, like she's like quoting things I've said. And
Yeah.
so it's sometimes I think we can get afraid to exclude, but the right people will filter through and
I agree.
they're gonna resonate with something and they're gonna still come through.
I agree. That reminds me too, when you helped us to set up our offer, right, that we post each month. I actually posted it today because I am enrolling new athletes for December. But in one of my slides, I did have somebody reach out and say, "Oh my goodness, this makes me so emotional. Like I feel like this is me." And so yeah, I that was what we did through the Runner Rising Academy. And so it's nice to be able to have those resources to continue using, but knowing that they're speaking to that ideal athlete.
Yes, exactly. And no one's going to respond to that if your Instagram story says, get a custom plan with a run coach who has
Yeah.
experience and is certified in this way. They're not going to reply and be like, this me, I need this. Right?
Yeah.
It's like when you know how to speak to them because that's what you specialize in. And then how does it also feel? We did touch on this a little bit, but like working with those kind of people, like we all, as all run coaches, the longer you do this, you have those clients that aren't necessarily your favorite because you don't jive, exactly or however, but do you find that now that you're more speaking openly to the kind of people you want, you're attracting those people, right? And you're enjoying the experience of coaching more.
Absolutely. It is so rewarding. I love it. I feel like even though I'm teaching part-time and now I'm coaching part-time, I'm still like a teacher just in a different capacity. And it's so rewarding to be able to help these athletes. So yes.
So what if there's something that you got out of Runner Rising Academy that you learned but you didn't expect? What would you say that is?
There were several things. One of the things that was very surprising to me in a good way was that even though we were in a group setting, I felt like you really were so generous with your one-on-one support. Like, I absolutely loved that we could email you our resources, and the feedback that you provided was just beyond. It was seriously so generous. And so I felt like even though we were in a community with other run coaches, that I still felt like I was important to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when we did the group coaching calls, I loved that you gave everybody an opportunity to it was almost like a one-on-one with you, but everyone got to listen, which was great because we got to learn new things as well. So I loved the personalized aspect of it as well. That was surprising to me, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
One of the things too that I thought that it was going to be mostly about social media training, but then when we got onto the platform where where you released the classes, gosh, I felt like you went beyond that. Like, I didn't know that I was going to learn about the newsletter. I didn't know that you were going to teach us about the back end side of run coaching. And that was huge. Like, my pricing, I did not know how to price myself as a coach. And now I do. And I'm owning that price because I feel like I'm worth
Good.
it.
Good.
But yeah, like insurance, like the workflows, messaging, like how to actually speak to your ideal athlete when they respond to your questionnaire. I also loved that your podcast episodes aligned so perfectly with what we were learning. So I felt like it was like a bonus. I loved that I could listen to it and then feel supported by in between like the sessions. The videos for every module. I felt like you're such a good model of all the things that you're teaching. And so that was really, really helpful for me. And it really went above and beyond my expectations, to be honest. And I'm also a little jealous that the new cohorts, they get 6 months. I think so. I feel like, wow, like if somebody out there listening is considering, like, you need to do it.
Well, I haven't announced or haven't approached the people who were in the academy before, but the way with the new format, the way that I'm doing it is there's going to be a new master class each month released live and with coaching, and then coaching on the second call. So I am inviting people who have already been in the Runner Rising Academy to come back if they want. There's a discounted price to join to get continued support. So you don't have to be jealous. You can join.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
Keep doing it. So yeah, and I did change a little bit. So now there's a VIP level where you get the feedback via email, where I'll review your content. I'll review anything you want, 2 things a week, and a bonus call, or you can just be in part of the group and get that in the group setting. So there's like 2 different tiers, but yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So I know 6 months. The reason for the change was in part as you experience. It's like everyone. First of all, I found some people go through the course faster than others, and then also 3 months just wasn't enough. Wasn't enough time.
It went by really quick. It did.
And we left our chat. I intentionally left our chat open for 6 more months so that you guys would continue to get some level of support in the group setting afterwards. But yeah, you're star student, of course, and just took everything and ran with it. On that note, so if you could teach the listeners or run coaches who are trying to grow on social media a tip or insight, something that they could implement and that would help them, what would you teach them?
I would say to like save every story or post or intake form where someone asks a question, because those questions are like content gold, you know. Um, so that I feel like that's really helpful for me to turn into like reels or on days where I'm like, what am I going to talk about now? Although you do give us a good guide for that, which I find myself referring back to a lot on weeks where I just feel like I'm not really um, I don't want to say motivated, but where I'm just feeling a little stuck. But yeah, I think when you're interacting and engaging with your ideal athletes on Instagram or wherever, to just really pay attention to what they're saying, because they're basically telling you like their struggles, and so that's where you can come in and help them or
Yeah.
speak to them.
Yes, I love that. That's gold. That is gold. What value did you get from interacting with other coaches? I know you mentioned it was helpful just to hear the coaching calls, but was there anything else that helped?
I really loved that it makes this journey feel less lonely. I mean, I don't have a lot of friends who love running, period. And then so I definitely don't have any friends who are run coaches. And so I felt like being in a community with them really motivated me and inspired me. I love that we could learn together. I love that we could share our struggles together, and it was fun to cheer for them. Like we all follow each other's business accounts. We still keep in touch, like comment on each other's posts. And so I really loved the community aspect of it because yeah, it made it feel less lonely.
Definitely. I'm all about community. It's a big reason why I made this a group program. And I do find it is the most valuable version. A one-on-one is great too, but it just adds something to be in community with people. And I'm in a group. I have a business coach in a group setting as well, and I really really love it.
That's awesome.
Last question before we go to speed round is how has your business and life changed since joining Runner Rising and implementing what you've learned?
I feel like the biggest thing for me is that my confidence has shifted. Before the academy, I just literally felt like I was guessing my way through everything. And I feel like I have so much more clarity now that I know who I want to serve, how to communicate with them. And you just help me create systems that help me to be consistent. So I think I've posted since starting the academy, at least 3 to 5 times a week. And so I feel like my social media presence is a lot more intentional and I have structure. And I feel like I'm building a stronger brand and building better relationships.
Yeah. And you also had the confidence to go to part-time for teaching.
Yeah.
And that's huge. How has that been since this school year? It's been a few months. How has
Yeah.
that changed your life?
It has been a blessing. I'm so happy. I really am. The shift from part-time teaching was a little difficult only because I had to move to a completely different school, and my partner and we didn't know each other before this, and so we both took a lot of chances. But it was the right choice. We're both very happy. We get to pour into our families. We get to still teach, which is what we love. But I also get to pour into Mariposa Miles. So, and I hope to be able to continue to do that. So maybe I'll be a full-time running coach. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. I see it. If you want it, I see it for you.
Thank
I didn't use my accent when I said it.
you. That's okay.
On my last episode, I don't know if you listened, I was talking about my Duolingo streak. Despite 1,000 days, I'm still a very beginner conversation.
I listened to that episode and that made me laugh. I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll help you practice.
I know my neighbor speaks Spanish, and we work out together. And sometimes I tell her, I was like, okay, let's just speak in Spanish during the workout, which has been good because there's like certain phrases that, especially related to working out, that I like. They were obvious, I guess, but I've never put them together with like, like, I don't know, like how to like in a gym setting, right? So
Yes. Oh, yeah. It
yeah,
gets tricky. Yeah. Yeah, I was a learner myself too, when I started teaching dual language immersion too. Like little things like, oh, I didn't think about how to say, regrouping in Spanish, like things, yeah, very
yeah,
content specific.
yes,
So,
yeah,
yeah, give
exactly.
yourself grace. You're doing great.
I just need to go live somewhere where they speak Spanish for like at least a few years, and I'll definitely get there. That's one of my goals one day. Okay, speed round. Unless you, well, no, there, yeah. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so. I just really want to thank you because you truly were or are, you are the mentor that I needed. And I'm just so grateful.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot to me. And I think when you said earlier, I've always been a very relationship driven coach and mentor. And I'm very proud of the fact that, and I like the fact that Runner Rising is smaller and that you get access to me and it's not this huge,
Yeah.
crazy thing where you think you're joining a business coach and then you're on like a call with someone else and there's 100 people on it. It's like, I want it to be this. And it really means a lot to me to be able to do meaningful work and have connections with people and help them individually too, but build that community. So appreciate it.
You're the real deal. So
Oh,
thank you.
thank you. Okay, so speed round. What's your favorite distance to coach?
My favorite distance to coach, I think, would be the half marathon. It's also my favorite distance to run, so maybe that could be part of
Well, the
it.
first half marathon it's really when you become a distance runner, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Yeah.
it's exciting. So yeah, definitely the half marathon.
Yeah. What run coaching software do you use?
I use VDOT.
What do you love seeing an athlete write on their training log?
I love seeing comments like when they say, "Well, this is my longest run ever. I'm so proud." Or when they say, like, "This is the first one I've been able to do without stopping."
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Yeah. What running gear you can't live without?
Oh, that would have to be my Solomon running vest. It
Mm.
doesn't matter the distance. I love having it on because I don't have to carry all my stuff.
What's your go-to pre-run food?
Okay, so this is newer for me, but I love eating a Bobo chocolate chip oatmeal bar. I don't know if you've heard of
Oh,
those. It's an oatmeal bar, and I eat it with a banana. And if I wake up early enough, I'll also have a cup of coffee.
no. It has to be early enough for the coffee. I can't do it without coffee.
Yeah.
What's one word of encouragement you have for the listeners?
One word, I would say courage. Just, if being a running coach or starting your first business is calling you, if it's in your heart, just have the courage and go for it. Everything that you want for your coaching business is really on the other side of that first brave step. And when you have support, like an amazing mentor, then it's possible. So have the courage, do it.
Yeah. How can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on Instagram at mariposa_miles.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was so great having you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I just really appreciate all your words and for sharing vulnerably and honestly. And um, I'm wishing you the best of luck in all the future too.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
You're welcome.